This is a public hospital district number 4, King County Board of Commissioners public meeting. On our agenda tonight is to evaluate our budget for next year. Could we all be called to order? And now let's have the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk do the roll call, please?
President Norris.
Here.
Vice President Herron.
Here.
Secretary Spikers.
Yep.
Commissioner Pollard.
Here.
Commissioner Young.
Do I hear a motion for the approval of the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
A second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, then it passes. Do we have any public comment? I don't see any public here, so I assume not. New business. The first thing on our business agenda is a presentation of the district budget for calendar year 2019.
So are you
Steve?
ready?
You're done.
Okay, I will give you a clue, it's the same budget you've seen oftentimes before. So, no changes. Budget assumes no fill.
Hang
Can
on
you
just a
do that?
second, Steve. I can't see the. Where's the full
Technical
screen?
difficulties.
Where's the full screen? Yeah, it's
Here you go.
there. It is.
Aha, okay. We've talked about before, the budget assumes no affiliation-related increase in patient volumes. We have budgeted for expenses for the affiliation project, $200,000 in consulting and legal expenses for this project. And talking to our CPAs who have seen this kind of project going forward, that's a good number. So I'm confident we have enough built in for a proper analysis of the transaction. Full staffing in the exec team, and why that's the difference is because we will most likely have a vacancy in the CEO position while we have an interim CEO who works 84 hours a day on that, but we'll save some money on it. So thank Kim for that one. Conservative patient volumes, flat from this year. We did not. The only exception would be we increased imaging by 5% due to some changes in the imaging department that Tom has discussed. If you want to say a word about it, you can. If not, go ahead.
We've talked about it. Unless there are questions.
Okay. They're the volumes, as you can see, they're flat except for the increase in imaging. Salary increases, and we used minimum data 3%. Our budget is 3%. That's what healthcare is giving. Before Commissioner Pollard's asked, Social Security is getting a 2.8% increase this year. So, you know, we don't compete with Social Security, but it is another check on what is inflation doing and what are inflationary increases in the country in this area. So we are going with the industry increases overall. Benefits, expense for us. It's budgeted our current plan plus 8%. We have chosen to remain with our current plan. We went to market, we got other bids, and we have Aetna declined to quote, Cigna quoted self-insurance only, and we're not going there. Regents declined to quote, Washington County's insurance fund declined to quote, United Healthcare did quote, but it was above our current renewal cost, and Kaiser quoted, but it doesn't make sense for us because if we took Kaiser, we don't have a contract with Kaiser. We could not treat our own employees for their medical services, and that would lose us about $300,000 or so. So, and there was a question that came up, what does the decline to quote mean when a company says that? It doesn't mean that you're at bad risk. What it means is that they have looked at your renewal price and said, we cannot beat that. We cannot match that. So it doesn't make business sense for us to put the effort forth and give you a quote. Expense budgets on supplies and other, we use inflation-based increases and specific by suppliers. Some items, such as pharmaceuticals, go up a higher percentage than other supplies. So our materials manager and finance staff worked on, okay, what are the estimates we have by type of supplies? We built that in. Staffing levels, those were developed in individual meetings we have with all the managers. They look and say, okay, we're going to have same levels, what do you need in staffing? And the number of staff we have is not changed from what we have now. It's flat. Staffing is flat, volumes are flat, that makes sense. And then department level expenses, such as what do you need for travel and training and such, we again met with the managers, let them plan. Medicare daily rate, it's based on an analysis from a cost report prepared, and that's a swing bed rate, $2,747.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
On staffing levels. Are we trying to actively engage in someone to fill a spot at the clinics? No? I thought we were.
We're going to fill all the capacity that we have first and then head out.
Okay. So is that for this budget? Did we plan on that? Filling
No.
any staff this year?
No.
No, we didn't.
But if we fill all of the current providers' capacity, we'll go ahead and recruit after that point, because the revenue will follow the additional expense.
Okay.
It would be,
Okay.
we'd expect there to be an initial investment as a new provider ramps up, but we'd love to have that situation where every provider is full to capacity.
Where are we at on clinics capacity? 70, 80, 90%?
Oh, across the board, probably 70% capacity.
Okay.
So if we start getting up close to 90%, then
Okay.
that would be the trigger to start looking, because you don't want the momentum to go beyond 100 before you start looking.
The only reason why I asked is I thought we were looking at another position.
We were,
So,
but now they've gone back and just really done an assessment of what the
Okay.
capacity is
Okay.
right now, and looking into this next year, saying flat rates, it's a little hard to justify opening a position when we
Okay.
have
All right.
capacity.
So that's for sure will not probably happen. That's my guess, but never know.
Prepared to respond if it does, but not putting the investment into it
Yeah,
when it's not, the affiliation will make a big difference.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Talk about the 340B drug program. We're using our current revenue stream, $204,000, $17,000 a month, so we did not increase that. That would increase if one of the big pharmacies, Kroger, comes online. We don't know if that'll happen. Kroger has put a hold on new participation with providers based on internal factors. We don't know why. Rural health clinic, we got that program was approved October 9th, and they're going forward with it. We wanted to be conservative there. We had two numbers. We will get paid the state average encounter rate. And the healthcare authority says the state average encounter rate is $138. Our cost report preparer said, well, no, it's $175. We're using the $138 in the budget. It is sometimes difficult to get what the healthcare authority to change its mind. And we didn't want to count on that. Now, if the additional revenue in that conservative estimate is $271,000 for next year, if we would get the 175, it would be 360. So we're still going to try, but we didn't count on it. And there's the budget, same one you've seen. Bottom line, 192,000. So, you know, I call that, if you're looking at revenue of the 38 million, that's a break-even budget. So we are forecasting and planning for a break-even budget next year. And I think we've talked about a couple of times, as we go through the budget presentations and performance to plan presentations next year, I will promise you that those individual categories will not all be on budget. Some will be over, some will be under. But we talked about we manage to that bottom line. So manage to bottom line expense and bottom line revenue, and are very careful with how we spend our money. Realizing if something breaks, we need to fix it, something else has to give way. So it's like, if your car breaks, you may not go to Hawaii this year. So,
You could swim there.
yes, yes. Are there questions, comments, anything from the commissioners?
Is
I
any-
have a comment from the finance committee, just to, I've said this before in the last couple of meetings, this has been out there before the commissioners, this proposed budget hasn't changed in over 3 weeks that I'm not aware of. It's a pretty honest budget, in my opinion. I've seen 12 of them, and this one is probably the most honest that I can see. That's my comment for the rest of the commissioners.
As long as we're on friends, you know, till you talk about, we have been re-looking at things, and I was in a meeting with our controller, who many of you know, who finally turned to me and said, we don't need to change the budget. Is this meeting just to control your angst? And I said, yeah, it is. Okay. So, thank you very much.
No, question about the bad debt and charity care. Is this very consistent in the past of what and how do we?
It's very consistent. We, no big changes in that. It's really what we have been running for the last few years. We had a number of years back, we had a larger amount of bad debt because we had some inpatients go to bad debt, but you know, with the management we do of intake, that we don't expect that to be. And just so you know, you probably know this, but every hospital is required to have a charity care policy.
Yeah.
And that's under a lot of scrutiny, and ours has been, and we've passed. So,
My understanding with regard to that is we've actually made some concessions with certain patients
Yeah.
sometimes that are really having a difficult time.
Always.
yeah,
That's
we always go that way.
That is
Yeah.
So
You can
that's
consider that
been the
happening.
policy.
24/7, that's always happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
I want to make a comment going back to what David said. You know, this, when I first started, which has been what, 4 or 5 years ago maybe, this budget and the finances were not as transparent as they are today. They're very transparent, and the staff that we have is very supportive and willing to work to try to find ways to help us and to be viable and to be within a budget. So I have a lot more confidence on the staff now than I had when I first got here. And I really think Steve does a sincere job. So does Jim, and David is making sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So I think it's a good budget.
So, and Tom and Kim did a lot of credit for that too.
Yeah, it's a team effort.
It's a team effort.
It is a team effort.
And I just want to point to last year's budget, we're not going to be too far off of it this year. We're actually going to
No,
do a
pretty
good
close.
chance at being closer to our budget than the year before. So we should, I'm thinking we're gonna end up in the black, so.
We're gonna have a real close to break even, hopefully in the black.
So,
There's a conservative CFO.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, really.
Are there any other questions for our CFO? Hearing none, then we will move on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 5, and I believe we're not going to vote on any of these till we get further down, right?
Just introducing the resolution under
Okay.
new business, then public comment.
Okay. Resolution 5491118, approving and adopting the district budget tax levy for calendar year 2019 and approving the limit factor for the district's regular property tax levy in calendar year 2019. Do we have that resolution?
The resolution is here in your packet.
Anybody have any comments about the resolution?
Having not read the entire resolution, could someone please summarize this whole thing for us?
Sure. Let's have Skip and Steve tag team that for us, please.
Thank you.
It's the resolution that we submit to the county that authorizes us to receive the tax revenue that the county allows. And it's, Skip, please jump in here, but this is the language required by the county, and it goes to the county assessment office.
Correct.
So,
It begins with the statute, RCW 70.44.060, that walks you through the requirements that the superintendent will prepare a proposed budget of the contemplated financial transactions. He has to file that before the commission on or before the first day of November. Notice of the filing has to be in date and place of hearing, shall be published for 2 consecutive weeks, at least 1 time per week, and newspaper printed in general circulation in the county. On or before the 15th day of November, which is today, the commission shall hold a public hearing on the said proposed budget, at which time taxpayers may appear and be heard against the whole or any part of the proposed budget. Upon conclusion of said hearing, the commission shall, by resolution, that's what's here, adopt the budget as finally determined and fix the final amount of expenditures for the ensuing year. Taxes levied by the commission shall be certified and collected by the proper county officer of the county. And that is this resolution. It does direct a number of things. It has a bunch of whereases and identifies pursuant to the statute that you've done that, and that you are a district of greater than 10,000, and that you take the lesser of the amount of the implicit deflator calculation, and we get that number from the county. They send that over to us. They send it to Steve, and then you calculate that, and you have to take the lesser of those, which we've done. We've confirmed that with the county. You have to identify that you had refunds for the last year of $5,527. You've reviewed all your sources of revenue. You've done that, and you've taken testimony, or will here shortly. And then you identify the regular property tax levy amount, which again is provided by the county, $3,853,499, and a refund levy of $5,527. And then you certify that you are going to ask the county assessor no later than November 30 a copy of the resolution showing the adoption. So you will take it to them and certify that. And both Steve and I have spoken to the county assessors, and they have confirmed the numbers that they have sent to us preliminarily. There's only one other number they tell me could change, and that has something to do with utility taxes.
that usually moves.
That moves up and down a little bit. Yours is 0 right now. I don't think it's going to change. I don't think you get utility taxes. So as Steve said, that can go up a little bit or down. Yeah, you might get up a little bit more if they determine that near the end of the year. But I think we worked off the 11/8, November 8, 18 levy limit worksheet that was provided to us from the county. So I think that probably more than summarizes what you wanted to know.
I was trying to think, how did they determine the numbers, so I can see
Yeah,
where
they
they
determine the
are.
numbers by looking
Public
at
taxing district.
the levy basis for your calculation, what
Okay.
you're allowed to collect. They look at local new construction,
Mhm.
any increase in utility value, which is 0 right now for you folks, any total new construction. They look at the last year's levy rate, and the new construction levy, and then they get you what's called a total limit factor levy. And you have to use the lesser of that, which is the $3,853,499. Then they look at any annexation levy, and you've got 0. Then they look at any lit lifts or refunds or total, and the re-levy or for prior year refunds, you're going to get $5,527. And then they look at the dollar increase over last year and last year's actual. So last year, you set a levy limit of $3,739,949. You collected just a little bit more than that. You collected actually $3,747,698. And so this will be an increase, based on your budget, of $29,650 this year. So that's all available on this one little levy sheet that they give to Steve. And I think they do those every couple of months, do they, Steve?
Yeah, I usually have about monthly during the budget process, I ask for it, and it really doesn't change. Again, the utility tax might go up a little bit, might be a little more.
Now, what about the property tax on the other piece of property on parcel E? Do we have to renew or let them know every year we still own it, or does it just happen automatically?
It happens automatically. You pay
Are you talking about East Campus?
Yeah, East
That's-
Campus.
And that's actually a surface water management fee.
Yeah.
Because you're a special purpose district, you do not get assessed property taxes.
Yes, that's what I was asking.
We don't
Yeah.
get away from the-
Oh, I get it, right.
But
surface water
you can't avoid the surface water management, you can't avoid other assessments.
Assessments,
But you're not going to get assessed property taxes.
Okay.
What's our yearly bond covenant for the hospital, 3.6?
The cash, you mean?
No, that's what we,
The bond.
what our payment is per year.
Yeah, about 3.6.
On the revenue.
Right.
Yeah, revenue bond.
Same number as what we have to have in reserve, that's why.
Do we have any other questions about this resolution?
I think it's very well written, put together conscientiously, and
Yeah, it is. Okay, so we've discussed it, and I guess we're going to move on to public comment.
Really, that's a little bit of a misnomer. This is actually a public hearing. You're taking public testimony in public hearing, so it goes beyond comment. Comment is what you normally have at your regular meetings, but this is beyond that even. This is a public hearing and giving the public the opportunity, as you've notified them in a publication in the county wherein this occurs, that they are supposed to come tonight and provide your testimony to you.
I appreciate you saying that. I really do, because there's nobody here but this young man recording us.
Let's get clarification.
I
Thank
have
you,
half
Skip.
a question, perhaps. Being from the lower valley, I have received no notice at all,
Well, you would have only had it published in a newspaper in the county.
and there isn't the only one.
Well, it's in the county, it's probably, I don't know where Val publishes it.
Post office.
The Valley.
Yeah, and in the post offices.
It's published 2 weeks consecutive, 2 consecutive weeks prior to in the
Yeah.
Valley Record.
And we don't get the Valley
As a legal
Record.
notice.
The requirements are pursuant to the statute that it just be published, and I think the legislature probably understands that not everybody gets a paper. In fact, very few people now get a paper, he's probably aware of it. It's not going to be throughout
Yeah,
the
no,
county.
I'm just saying, I just wanted to make that known, because I happen to live in Carnation, which has the highest property tax in the county of King.
I'll just comment as well that the notices appear in local post offices and libraries.
Oh,
Point of order, they did not appear in the libraries and post office. I checked. As a matter of fact, if you go up into our lobby, the latest posting in our own lobby is for the 8th of November, our regular meeting. There's not a current posting for this public hearing upstairs in our own lobby. Take a look.
I didn't get that posted. I realized that late in the afternoon, but the other ones were given to our facilities and staff who post them regularly.
I know it was posted in Preston.
I checked, is there a posting at, in Preston?
Yeah.
There's no posting in Snoqualmie Library, Snoqualmie Post Office, or North Bend Post Office.
I
I'm
can,
sure they took them.
well, to sometimes, and I can tell you in Preston sometimes too, people come and take them down.
No, there was no posting.
What?
I'd say there was no posting.
That does not mean
I
they were
mean,
not posted.
it's an indication when we don't even post it in our own lobby.
The fact that they were not seen by you does not mean that they were not posted.
I'm sorry, I don't agree. I have watched for several days, and when you look at how Snoqualmie City has posted their budget hearings, they have posted them for 2 weeks at least. And we don't have to wait until the last minute. I've checked every day. There's been no
It was
posting.
out on the 9th.
What?
It was out on the 9th.
Well, I'm sorry, it's not posted there.
Madam Chair, you've complied with the statutory requirements.
Yes, we have, and we're ready to go.
And I
ahead.
understand the concerns being raised by the board in terms of trying to make sure and, more redundancy in terms of posting, but you have complied with the statute in order for you to pass your resolution.
Yeah. Thank you, I appreciate that. I can ask for public comment, but there's nobody here, so, I mean, you're somebody, but
I would like to just ask a question as a commissioner. If we don't see any posting out there, what do we as commissioner ought to do? Don't we?
have a responsibility.
Yeah, responsible to talk to the people. I think that we should do something, not just say, okay.
I
So,
think-
this is just for all of us to make sure that we are responsible.
Well, I know I usually check our post office, and I also take it down when it's past the time. I'm there anyhow, so I take it down. And I would suggest that Commissioner Pollard, when you notice that, I'm sure if you let Val know, she will make sure somebody gets out and gets it done. Let's move
we need
on.
to adopt a policy of notices, because often we didn't post under the best of times until 24 hours before the meeting.
Okay, well, that's
And
old.
so, I mean, that gives me a very short time if I happen to be able to. Now
That's
here,
not
this
current
is the
practice.
posting at the North Bend Post Office, and it's for the 8th of November, a regular
Okay,
meeting. So if there were a person posting the 15th, you would assume that that person would take down the meeting notice of the 8th. This was up in the North Bend Post Office tonight.
It doesn't mean that that person necessarily takes them down, because I know in my post office they don't. Oh, it's time for us to move on, and I think we will be cognizant of that in the future, very cognizant. Yes. Okay, we're moving on to action items. So Resolution 549118, approving and adopting the district budget and tax levy for the calendar year of 2019, and approving the limit factor for the district's regular property tax levy in calendar year 2019.
I make that motion.
I second it.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 549118, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
It passes with the ayes. Next meetings, and I don't have anything else on here. Next meetings, we have a work study Wednesday, November 28th, 2018 at 6 o'clock p.m. North-South Conference Room, and a regular meeting Thursday, December 13th, 2018, 6:30 p.m. in the North-South Conference Room. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I hear a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Did you want to settle the date of the work study session for December tonight? We've been corresponding about that.
I was out of town. It says here December 13th, and I asked, is there a change in that? Do we want to do something different?
Well, that's the
Madam
No,
President,
that's the work studies.
Oh, the work study
Work study.
is on November 28th. Is that what you're talking about?
Originally, but you have been communicating with various members of the board and suggesting, I think, the 19th. There have been a couple that have bought into the 19th.
Oh, in November.
I just wondered
for the
whether you want to
December
settle
one.
that.
December.
You want to settle that tonight, so you can give appropriate notice to people?
Commissioner Pollard, I didn't know that there was discussion about that. I've been
Oh,
away
you
from,
were one of those that.
I probably did that about 2 weeks ago, right?
No, we just got it in the last couple of days where you said the 19th is good for you.
Oh,
Is that-
yeah, I did do that, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I didn't know that was going out. I was out of town, and I didn't have internet, so. So are we gonna, does somebody want to make a motion about that? Can we do that?
Skip, I don't think we can take action, can we?
no, this is a special meeting that you've set, so you can
Okay,
only
thank
address items that are on the agenda.
Yeah.
And so I think you need to continue. This is more of just informational discussion.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Paul was just inquiring as to whether dates are being firmed up, but you should not take action and approve any dates yet. And I think what I'm hearing is that we're looking at December 19th for the potential workshop in December, as opposed to, I think it was December 26th.
Correct.
And so that's the discussions occurring, and I'm sure that Valerie and staff will follow up once they can confirm that date.
We're just concerned that the minutes might show the next meeting
As-
and the work study session date and so forth. That could be misleading if we haven't settled on it.
Okay, I think that's
Write
pretty
it on
clear.
November 28th.
We'll put in the minutes, if it's okay, that we have a tentative date for a rescheduled December work study of the 19th to be confirmed at a later date, but at least it'll show that it's tentative at this point.
Okay, that makes sense. And right now, then, you do have in your minutes and on your agenda that you've got a work study on November 28th,
We do,
That is
6
the next.
p.m.
yeah.
You have a regular meeting December 13th, 6:30 p.m. And you're tentatively now moving towards December 19th.
For
And
work
that'll
study.
be confirmed
At a
at
later
a
date.
future date,
Right.
and no later than December 13th.
Well, if we do the 19th, we won't do the 28th, will we?
It would have been the
Oh, no, we
26th.
will, yes.
Wait, one's November and one's December.
Yeah,
Oh, I see, yeah.
we'll do both, yeah.
I'm talking about December.
Yeah,
All
okay.
right.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions, discussion, or anything else we need to cover? Do I
Go ahead, go ahead.
Do I hear a motion
I
to
move that
adjourn?
we adjourn.
Second? Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.